If you are an Amazon seller with a virtual assistant, maybe even a team of virtual assistants, and you are pondering the question about VA raises, salary raises for your team, don't worry, you have come to the right place. Today, I'm going to go through everything about salary raises for VAs, how to do it, when to do it, how much you should pay, but also some top tips, do's and don'ts that you should consider, and also what to do when your VA asks for a raise and how to handle it. So stay tuned, we'll go through that and lots more. If you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson and I am an online arbitrage seller on Amazon. I'm on a mission right now to do £1 million by the end of 2021. I'll drop a link up there. And one other thing I'll add is I run two businesses, one selling on Amazon and another one called FastTrackFBA, name of the channel, whereby we help Amazon sellers with leads, but not only leads, VAs, hiring VAs, manual sourcing VAs, and much more. And in myself, I have about 30 VAs across the two companies. So certainly salary raises, questions about salaries are always something that I have to consider. So I'd like to think maybe I have a small amount of experience, and I'm going to share that today with you. Number one, I'm going to go through what are the reasons to give a raise to a VA. Number two, factors in giving a salary raise for a VA. Number three, salary increases granted by how many months. Number four, how much you should give as a raise to your VA. Number five, when your VA is asking for a raise, some do's and don'ts. And then finally, top tips to take away for you to think about this whole subject. Okay, so there's a lot to go through in giving VAs salary raises. And what I will say is I created a do's and don'ts sheet that's going to help you out in making sure that you do the right things at the right times to support your business in giving salary raises which work and add value to your business. You're going to see a free link that you can get that do's and don'ts guide. So check that down below in the descriptions. That'll be there for you. It's just going to give you notes about what I'm talking about today to help you out in your business. One of the questions you might be asking is, why do I need to actually give a salary raise? Well, I have a great saying. If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. By going together and far is having a team. It's your team. Whether it be you and one VA or me and maybe 30, or maybe you've even got more. That team is really important to your success and business success. So recognizing that success and rewarding it through a salary raise is a really important part of having a productive, highly effective team which is going to get results. And that's what we want. Now, on the other side is where you are getting results, or maybe you haven't planned the whole system out and you're not getting results, is that by not giving a salary raise when great performance has been achieved, or maybe the VA feels they've had great performance, could lead to them looking elsewhere, looking for maybe another job, and maybe you're not paying enough. So just be mindful of that a salary raise can help support great performance, but also by not doing it, might lead to them looking elsewhere. So the other point about a salary raise is that by tying it in with performance-related targets, it could be personal development, it can be certain things you want them to achieve, that's going to have a real impact on not only driving performance within your business, but also recognizing that performance and rewarding it through a salary raise. Now, what does that have an effect on? Well, that has an effect on your business overall and also the bottom line. And because you are recognizing that success, that achievement that your VA has done and the impact they've had on your business, that is going to lead to happier VAs, a more productive VA, and obviously a better business for you that's going to grow and hopefully add a lot more profit to your bottom line. So while it might cost you doing a salary raise, it actually benefits you more because your business is going to grow as part of it as well. And you're going to have motivated staff who are going to be super happy. So question for you guys is, salary raises are a great way of recognizing consistent employee performance over long term, because obviously you're recognizing that success. Now, how do you recognize success and how do you reward it? Maybe isn't a salary raise. Drop it in the comments down below. Let me know. I'm always interested to hear how other people are running their businesses. Maybe you've got something which is quite unique and it's working really well. Do share. I'd love to hear. Okay, so the next bit I want to talk about are the factors in giving a VA salary raise. Now, quite simply, if you are thinking about giving a VA raise, what should you be considering? Well, I think the first things first, as any business owner, you should always be considering your bottom line profits. If you can't afford to give a raise as a company, do not give one. I will just state that very clearly. Even if your staff member is great and they've done a really good job, if you're not surviving as a business, you shouldn't be increasing your costs. And I think that should lead to a really honest conversation with your team and also an action plan of how you're going to get out of that situation. And then obviously what the recognition, success and salary raise will be once that's been achieved. Be open and honest about it, let your team know. But hopefully you're running a successful business and you're making the money and also you can afford a salary raise. So very important point there. So the other factors you might want to consider are things such as length of service. So how long has the VA worked with you? Also their performance over the last year. Hopefully you set them some KPIs, some objectives, and obviously you can measure their performance against that and obviously what their impact in the business is. If you haven't, now's a really good time to think about, hey, you know what? I should probably give these guys a target, because once I give them a target, they're going to achieve a lot more. So really, really good. And then the other thing which I would consider is quite simply their skill set. So how valuable are they to your business, and how much value are they bringing in? For example, if they are a really specialized member of staff that's going to cost a lot of money to retrain, it's going to be really hard to find someone else, you might want to look at a higher salary raise than someone else, because obviously they're adding so much more value to your business. At the end of the day, we're about recognizing and rewarding that value. Now, generally speaking, we try and keep salary raises pretty much the same across the board. And I will talk in a bit about how much to give and that calculation about what's quite normal within the Philippines. The next thing I'll talk about is when to give a salary increase, and generally speaking, it's done by how many months. Now, in the Philippines, some employers do give a salary increase after 6 months, and probably that might be stated in the initial signing contract or what, as a company policy, what they do. Most of the time in my business, we would do it at an annual time of the year, which leads me quite nicely onto the second part, which is, what might you want to consider? Well, quite simply, what I would normally do is I would look in January to be the month whereby it's a bit quieter in our Amazon businesses, everything's coming down for Q1. We can also now just take a moment to sit down with our staff, do a performance review with them, and in that performance review, we can actually look to have a conversation with them about salary increases, maybe give them a salary increase for great performance, or say maybe they're not getting an increase and explain why and what they need to do to get one for the next review in the following year. So January is a great time to do it. You can do it if you want to after 1 year of work. But the one thing I even saw for me is that when you've got like 30 staff, you're pretty much going to be doing those reviews all the time. It's just going to be a nightmare. So we pretty much said January, that's a month. Get it all done in January, move on. And then obviously we can get on with the rest of the year and focus on growing our Amazon businesses right up to the next Q4. Okay, so the next thing you might think about is how much to actually give a raise. Now, generally speaking, they talk about doing a raise in line with inflation. And within the Philippines, and that's quite normal, a raise in line with inflation, you're looking about 3 to 5%. Now, that's pretty much what you're probably looking at as a salary raise, but I'm just going to come back to a previous point. Number one, you should be able to support this raise in your business because you are making profits, you are financially viable. If you cannot cover the cost of the raise, don't increase them, because the last thing you want to do is increase the costs in your business which isn't making enough money to cover those costs. And I think also as well, one thing to really point out, especially as a business owner, is it's very easy to increase costs in our business. Salaries is another cost, increasing them. It's very hard to decrease them. So just be very careful about increasing your salary costs all the time. A top tip you might look at is a small salary raise with maybe an increase in your performance bonus for when they've achieved great success. So that's going to be a win-win. Not only the employer's got an increase in their salary, but also as well, you've got an increase in how much they can earn for their performance. And you as a business benefit from that because you're going to see the increase in performance, and you only pay out when they perform. So a small increase in the salary and an increase in your performance bonus could be a really good way of doing it. Or even if you can't give a salary raise, Maybe it's about introducing a performance bonus or improving a performance bonus, which is going to drive that recognition and reward because, hey, maybe you can't give a salary raise because your business is not financially viable enough right now to do it. You can put steps in place that's going to support the VA and all your teams to get recognition for great work done. Now, the thing which I say is, I talked about it earlier, 3 to 5%. If your VA is earning 20,000 a month, and I just use that as a number, and if you're doing a 5% increase, it's going to be a 1,000 peso increase per month. So over the course of a year, that's going to be pretty much 12,000 pesos that you're going to be paying extra. So it will be a cost. It's not going to be huge, but again, just make sure that you're factoring it in and you're fully understanding if you can afford that pay rise for your VAs. That's going to be an important part. Now, what I will say is, again, there's a lot of information, and getting a salary raise is really an important part of the business, not only from recognizing success with your team and giving them recognizing that success and giving them what they've earned, really showing that appreciation, but also as well financially, your business, making sure you don't ruin your business by increasing your costs too much, and handling this very delicate matter correctly is an important part of any business. So again, what I'm going to say is have a look down below. There's going to be a free sheet that I'm going to offer you, or that I've got, that you can use. It's just going to help you make that process so much easier. It's just going to guide you through and some top tips of salary increases. Okay, so it's come that point whereby your VA has come up to you and they said, "Hi sir, can I have a raise, please?" Now, I'm not going to lie, I've not really heard this. Maybe I pay too much, maybe I don't really know. It's probably not going to be something that common, but they do have certain reasons. So there's a certain way you should probably handle this, and I want to go through it now, some top tips do's and some top tips don't. So your VA's just come up to you and they've asked for a raise. What should you be doing? Let's go through some top tips right now. So just imagine the situation is your VA comes up to you and they say, "Hi sir, I've been working with you X amount of months, X amount of years, and can I have a raise? I'm struggling to make ends meet at home. Maybe my husband, my God, my husband has just lost his job." How should you handle this situation? First of all, what I'd really recommend is thank them. Thank them for bringing this matter to your attention. It's always hard to ask for a raise, and especially with Filipino and Western culture, it's not something that you normally see. Now take the time to listen. Just say, "Look, thank you very much for letting me know. Can I just ask you a few questions? I just want to understand a little bit more." We're not trying to judge, we're not trying to do anything, we're just fact finding. Ask them for reasons why, what's going on, what's the reason they believe for a raise. Ask them for what their contribution has been towards the business. So how much value have they added to the business? Maybe successes they've had, achievements, targets they've been set and they've achieved them and beaten them, and even how they're performing against their KPIs. So ask them around that and how they're performing. Now, always remain neutral in this situation. That is going to be super key. We're not making any decisions, we're just listening. It's a fact-finding exercise with our team. Now, I'd always recommend trying to get the VA to separate personal situations from the business. So all the decisions we make on salary raises, performance improvements, performance plans are based on business outcomes, results, achievements, successes. If it's something to do with at home, maybe there's a problem at home, that's a personal situation and shouldn't be taken into consideration when looking at salary increases, i.e. my husband just lost work, I'm struggling, can I have a pay rise? It's got to be related towards business performance. So separating that out and asking the VA to say, "Can you tell me what the reason behind this for the work is, and then also the reason behind it for the personal," and saying that's a personal reason, we need to keep it all about the work and the business. That's really important, so they understand that. I'd also recommend is before you make any decision, always just take a moment. Maybe it's like, "Can you give me half an hour? Can you give me an evening to sleep on it?" Go away and just have a moment to think. No need to make a decision straight away. You can always come back to it. So fact find, make a decision. So when you come back and talk to your VA about the reasons maybe you are or maybe you're not, make sure you clearly state the facts. Don't make it personable. This isn't about a personal thing. This is the facts. So maybe it's the company policies, we give salary raises in line with January, unless there's an exceptional circumstance, i.e. measurable. It might be that there's major outperformance or a new change in role that recognises that there should be a salary raise, and that maybe this isn't the situation that meets those criteria, and that raise would normally be discussed in January, and there's nothing changed. Just explain that to them and thank them very much again for bringing the matter to your attention. But again, explain it's not something that you do as a business. And again, thank them. It's a hard thing for a VA to come to someone and ask them for a raise, but obviously keep it neutral, don't make it personal, and say thank you very much. And obviously maybe give them some direction about if they do want to raise, what they can do to get there. Maybe you're going to have a member of staff now who's going to work doubly hard to help grow your business, and obviously they're going to get a raise as well. Oh, top tip, what I will say, don't make promises. It's a very dangerous game. Clearly outline what you want someone to do, but don't promise them a raise. I've seen it too many times, and you get too many hopes up and then they get let down. So just make sure you're very crystal clear of what your expectations are. Don't promise them you'll get a raise. So if you achieve this, we can sit down and review where you're at in your performance. And obviously if you meet that, we can review whether you're eligible for a raise. But don't promise you're going to get a raise X amount, because you don't know, your business is going to change. Maybe you might not be able to afford a raise at that time. So be very careful about making promises. Now you might be thinking, there are some things to do. What shouldn't you do? What should you not do when a VA is asking for a raise? Well, quite simply, do not say yes or no straight away. Also, we talked about fact find, just get the information. Number 2, do not act defensively. Do not sit there and go, oh my God, I want a raise. No. Like, what's going on? Like, don't make it impersonal. Just listen to the information. You don't need to make a decision straight away. Don't critique. Don't say, oh, well, you were a bit late yesterday, so I can't give you a raise because you're not very good performance. Again, we're trying to get the facts. We're just trying to listen. We want to understand what's going on, and we want to make it impersonal. So don't critique. And don't compare. Like, do not compare against someone else. Everyone is unique in their own way. And what you're doing is you're looking at their performance against their objectives, not saying, oh, well, you found 2 deals yesterday and the other person found 3, so not sure. I wouldn't do that. I would make it purely about them and the results you want them to achieve. And I'd also just add there, finally, if you are thinking about giving a raise, make sure you are aligning that with clear expectations on what you want back from that salary increase. So as time goes on, all employees get better at their work. What do you want them to achieve? Or do you want to give them more money and ask them to do exactly the same thing they did last year? No, we want to get better. So what else are you going to ask them to do? What targets are you going to set them to get back from that salary raise? So align expectations, align performance with pay increases. Top tip for you when giving salary raises, or even not, maybe when you can't give a salary raise, give your member of staff, should we say, options, ways that they can achieve that goal. They can work towards getting what they want, i.e. a raise. Don't just flat out yes, no. That's a quite dead in the water approach. By giving them a solution, giving them a route, a path to follow that's going to lead to what they're after, they're much more motivated to get there. Okay, so quick question for you. If you've had a situation like this before, maybe you've had a VA asking for a salary raise, be sure to drop it down below. I'm interested to hear how you handled it. I want to know how you handle these situations. Maybe you've got some top tips you share with everyone else. Drop it down below. Okay, so what I want to just go through now are some final top tips to consider when doing raises for your VA. First things first, plan. Plan when you're going to give your VAs a raise, or you're going to review that situation. It makes it so much easier to handle. For me, I do it in January. If anyone talks about a raise before then and there's no extenuating circumstances, i.e. change of job role, I'm probably going to say, it's January, we do it. That solves the problem until that point. So number 1, plan. Number 2, track performance. Now, quite simply, I've talked about it throughout this, KPIs, performance, what you want them to achieve. Any raise should be aligned with an increase in performance or achieving of success within your business, which is adding value. If you can't see that, you've got to question why they're getting a raise. You've got to question what are they even doing. It's so easy in our businesses to say, hey, just get on with this. That's fine, but we should really be trying to track, measure, and recognize and reward that success. And ultimately, that should be aligned with what we're trying to achieve within our businesses. So number 2, track their performance, track how much value they're bringing into your business. And then finally, I'd say privacy. Whenever you're having that meeting with your VAs about raises, pay rises, do it in private. Always discuss that in private. It's quite a sensitive thing. No one wants to have how much they're earning or whether they got a pay rise or they didn't shared publicly. Keep it in a one-to-one meeting with that VA. Make it very clear that this is a private and confidential meeting and it's to stay within that meeting and have that meeting with them. It's just going to support that process of having an open and honest conversation in a private setting. That is pretty much it. That is everything that I've gone through. And hey, this is a really important subject. If you've got a business, your team is going to be the reason why your business is growing. That is it. They are doing the majority of the work. Your job as a manager, a director, an owner of a business is to support them in getting the most out of what they're doing to help grow that business. And salary raises, salary reviews are a big part of that. So do give me a thumbs up if you like it. And if there's anything else, be sure to drop it down in the comments below. But hit that subscribe button. From me, Thomas Parkinson. Thank you very much.